I'm in Guwahati, and this is Brahmaputra River. Now, the Brahmaputra River starts in Chinese Tibet. Before anybody destroys me, they call it Chinese Tibet. I mean, it's part of Tibet. It's controlled by China. Well, I guess all Tibet is controlled by China. Anyhow, it's not a political thing here. So this river starts there in the Himalayan mountains, and it flows down, and ultimately it exits into the Bay of Bengal, goes into Bangladesh, and joins up with the Ganges River, the other famous river. So Brahmaputra River, understandably, is a very big river, as you can see. And so it's named, or the meaning of the word Brahmaputra means in Hindi the son of Brahm. So Brahm is in Hinduism the son of Brahma, ultimately Brahm himself. I mean, Brahmaputra, the son of Brahm. Brahm himself is what they call the creator god, right? So in Hinduism, they have as well a trinity of God. The most important, just give the right names here. I know Vishnu is one, and Shiva, Vishnu, Shiva, and then Brahm. So the three, like the Trinity gods, three main gods, with Vishnu the preserver and Shiva the destroyer, and Brahm then the son of of, uh, um, Brahmaputra, the son of Brahm. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just thinking of it. In Buddhism, you don't have any gods. But in Hinduism, you do have gods. So Hinduism is not a atheistic religion like would that Buddhism would be like, because they do have gods. No, yes, you have lots of gods, but then they have these three gods, like the main gods. So it's kind of interesting as well, a trinity, right? So Hinduism, from a religious point of view, I mean, we came into this before Jesus was born. So, in a certain sense, you can say it's older than Christianity. But I would ultimately say Christianity was born in the Garden of Eden and not later on. It's just as well interesting to see how different cultures and different religions have part of the truth. So I know there's a saying, and the teacher at our school once there from India used this example once of the touching the parts of the elephant, and you're all blindfolded and they're touching, and they all kind of touch the parts of the elephant, and one the tail, and they all have a part of the truth, but only together do they have the whole truth. Now, yeah, I'm not understandably wanting to say every religion or all the religions put together is going to have the full truth, and if you don't put them all together, you're never going to have the full truth. Understandably not. I think from videos you can see I'm totally not for that. I think Christianity has all of the truth, right? What I'm just saying is that you'll find, like you find stories about creation, stories about flood, all those kinds of stories you find in other cultures. And they all have a little bit of the truth in there, maybe of what happened because of how stories were told and passed on through the generations. But ultimately, there's only one religion that has all the truth in its right context. And I believe as a Christian that is Christianity. So when you look at, if you would then kind of compare Brahmaputra, the son, some would say Jesus, son of God, so that would be Brahmaputra kind of comparatively. But Jesus is God himself, so that would put him on the level of the other two, Shiva or Vishnu. And so, well, sure, it's neither the destroyer, not the preserver, because none of the Trinity is either a destroyer or a preserver. They all work together. They all have the same, well, the overall task, right? So yes, the verse I wanted to read has actually kind of a lot to do here then with, kind of fits in with this, okay? So in Exodus chapter 20, verse 7, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Right, so again, I want to say, well, if other religions might have, by the grace of God, God put some parts of the truth in the religions, so that when missionaries came along, they could use that as an example to point them towards the one true God, right? That is the God of the Bible, Christianity. So yes, for sure, it's there for like what people visiting just now Nagaland, those kinds of places. They had their old stories, and there were stories concerning this God, and when the missionaries came, they used those stories to ultimately bring in and show them. But this is actually the God of the Bible, right? The one true God. So in this case as well, I guess you can use for Hindus this idea of the Trinity, of their three gods and the Trinity of God, and show you that this is ultimately the true Trinity and not that specific Trinity, and that it's not a destroyer here in work. And then, I mean, ultimately there's lots of other differences as well. But that can be kind of maybe an open door. Now, so Brahmaputra is the son of, but Jesus is not just the son of his God himself. And in this verse, God is saying, speaking about not taking his name in vain. Now, what does it mean to take God's name in vain? I think too many people have kind of a weird notion of what it means. I've seen Christians where they spell God, G-O-D, as G-D. Because if they say G-O-D, that would mean taking the name of God in vain. Okay? And I mean, one of the reasons they use is that it was forbidden. It's like we have JHWH, the I am name of God, the Lord, all caps. And we don't, because the fact that they didn't use the vowels like these people do, more than certain Christians do, we don't know ultimately it's Jehovah or Yahweh or whatever it is, right? We don't know. We can't say for sure. And so they will use that as a reason for showing, okay, see, these guys did not put in a vowel, so we must not put in a vowel. So we must, if we do, we break the commandment, and so therefore we say just GD. Okay? And in general, I haven't seen them speak Lord, so LRD, for example, or Jesus as GSS kind of idea. I haven't seen them in general. I've only always see them speaking of God, GD. No, which God anyhow? But again, that's above the point. So this God named Brahm, or son of God Brahmaputra, the river here in the behind, no problem. It doesn't say BRHM, something like that, and GD. So that is ultimately to say it like that. That is a misunderstanding of what this commandment or word is about.